and welcome to the Awakening series. My name is Kimberly Archuleta. This is a series where we bring brilliant minds together. Today, I'm honored to have Mike Maurer on our show. He is a very close friend. We've known each other for, since college, and he has the most amazing story, and I can't wait for him to tell you about his journey. But Mike, before that, if you can give us some insight about what you're doing. I see a guitar there. I've heard you play before. Want to hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I'm currently a full-time musician. I've been playing guitar and piano since I was about 10, so roughly 30 years. And it's currently my living. So I teach, I have lessons and teaching business, and I record and perform all through the area. And I've been doing that off and on for about 20 years professionally.
Yeah, I always see you on like Facebook Live and Facebook events, jamming out, having wonderful jam sessions. So
Yeah.
that's really awesome.
Man, that was the social media thing. It taught me during the pandemic that it's like I could sit here and put on record and share with Instagram and like kind of globally. Honestly, I got this weird following in Japan now, and based on Instagram hashtags. But it was nice. It kind of was a savior during the pandemic. We were all locked in. It's like I realized then it's like it's not something that I do just for myself. I need to share it.
I love that. And I love that we have this platform become the new norm, right?
Yeah, I mean, work with it. It's opened a lot of things, I guess.
Yeah, perfect. Well, I'd love to get right into your journey in regards to weight loss and frequency. Mm-hmm. If you can possibly start at the beginning of where you started with weight in general when we first met, and then kind of where you are now and the thought process in which, changed kind of who you are.
Totally. Yeah. So growing up, I was always kind of overweight, and my brothers were too. It was, that's almost irrelevant on why at this point. But I was definitely grew up kind of overweight and led into my adult life or right around the time I met you. And it was just something I accepted as who I was. And I didn't have consciousness of why or what. So there was a point I was living kind of an unhealthy lifestyle with music. I was touring the country. I wasn't taking care of myself. And I was like low energy, low frequency for sure. But I didn't know any of this at the time. It was just, I need to change. I want to experience this incarnation or this life differently. So it was kind of a decision mentally first that I don't want to carry this anymore. And that was the biggest thing with the weight loss for me. And as we talked preluding to this, it was a frustrating thing, and excited about this experience because everybody wants to know how did you do it? Like, what fad diet did you use? And I struggled with this because I was like, it's not really what I'm eating. It was my mind changed, and then when my mind changed, reality manifests. And in particular, everything was organically happened as far as the weight loss. And when I decided that was 2015, 2016, I didn't really have a conscious effort what was going on. It was like my soul made this decision that it's time to do something different. But what I think the most important thing I did was to get out of my way of my soul. So the mind or the ego was not interjecting. So I almost took a back seat to my soul's intention. And my intention was to drop weight and experience and to get healthy, and it was a byproduct of changing my mind. The weight loss, it wasn't like, oh, I really want to lose weight because I feel overweight. That wasn't the intention. The intention was to reset myself and get close to myself and to the spirit, and then that came after that. So it was a frequency change that what byproduct was the weight loss.
That's amazing. The frequency change. Not many people talk about that and weight loss. Honestly, I'm very impressed. And when I heard your story, And when I saw you, from then to now, I was just wowed. And I mean, I'm sure the keto diet, the juice cleanse, the this, the that, all these questions from people that know you, and a lot of people know you, especially being in the music world. And it's just so phenomenal to me that this mindset changed your outer look, your entire body. So if you can give us give us some information on like how many pounds you shed within a certain amount of time.
I think it was probably, when I was heavy, you didn't want to weigh yourself, and that's common. People don't want to, they was like, oh God, how much you weigh? I just noticed, I think I was around like 280 or something. So I'm around 185 now. And I've been that consistently. So around 100 pounds, I would say 80 to 100 for sure. And it was quick. It was like within 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a very quick thing. And like I said, part of me was taking a backseat to what was happening too. I was like, what is going on? But I was rolling with it, and the energy levels that, all of these things kind of aligned. And when I say energy levels went up, and, the other side of that is a higher frequency. It's, when you're existing in a higher frequency, it's like a radio station. Now that you're picking up that, then you manifest that. So it wasn't surprising after, and a lot of this was insight in retrospect that I just kind of looked back on it. I didn't get insight until, after I was in my new body, so to speak, what was really happening to me. It's like I said, it wasn't just like I need to lose weight. And so, and that's the thing I struggle with. And it's a lengthy explanation people ask. It's like I could tell, see, everything is intentions, and their intention is, what is your secret? And it's like a cheat or something. And that's what kind of they're looking for. And it's like, there is none. There's no cheat. There's just, it's just the way it is. And it wasn't a struggle because you completely you change the wave frequency. So if we're radios, we tune the station. So we're only picking up a frequency that we're tuned into. Now, it wasn't a struggle, and it was so fast losing the weight because I didn't battle with a temptation of eating like I used to, or being lazy or anything like that, because I was in a different radio station. That's what I did now, if that makes sense. So if somebody is in an opposition to something, they're still participating in it. Does that make sense? So hating something is giving something energy. Being against something is giving something energy. When about frequency changing in in regards to the diet per se, because it wasn't a struggle because I changed the frequency. So I think that a lot of people have not a hard time understanding, but haven't conceptualized that when you are in opposition to something, you are still participating to it. And in that frequency, it's only possible to give energy to something if you're in that same frequency, right? So even if it is in opposition. So in other words, if somebody has this stance, or it wasn't a struggle because I changed my frequency. So the idea that what was not in my reality was temptation or opposition. It was the only positive moving forward path. So it wasn't like, if I was to stay, oh, it is such a struggle to lose weight, it is such a struggle to have this temptation, then because I'm in the same frequency. Does that make sense?
Yes, so, absolutely. Because I think maybe if we could say it like this, the universe doesn't know, or in regards to frequency, the universe doesn't know one or the other, whether it's good or bad. If you're in that frequency, it is.
100%. 100%. It doesn't know if you're for it or against it, but when you're against something, you're aligned with that same frequency. So this is important in not just regards to weight, but in anything you're opposing. So, and if you don't oppose anything, there's no struggle with it.
And that's, I think, if you don't mind me saying this, like with prayer, in a sense, like pray and then let it go. And when they say like, let God do God's work, in regards to the prayer, that's when you need to detach from it. Right. Like you need to just know and believe that your prayer has been heard, and there's really nothing else you need to do about it. You don't have to go up to a waiter 14 times. Some, like my mentor told me, you don't have to go up to the waiter 14 times to tell him that you want spaghetti. You told him the first time, he took the order down, he's put it in the system, the spaghetti is going to come out, and you believe it is. So it's the same thing. And just like the detachment from whether it's good or bad, if you just remove yourself from what you're asking for, what you want, like, I feel like you're quite detached from it. Like you said, you kind of like let your ego, or you stepped aside.
Yeah, you realize that you're not in control, and that goes within it. It's stepping away from it, knowing that there's a higher power, a higher frequency that it really is there to, and your job is to tune into it. And it really is all taken care of. You know, one of the most powerful things that I've heard is like, you are a part of something that always has, always, and always will be, and is. And that's eternal. And that's, you know,
Wow.
That's the beauty of you. But what happens is our mind gets so, and then when you say let it go, that's the work. So the work is not how many calories I'm doing, or the work is not, oh, make sure I do 45 minutes of cardio in these details. The work is letting my mind take the back seat, because I am not all knowing as my brain. I don't know the situation as far as Mike, my brain doesn't know. So let's let that step aside and let the soul do its work. And then you learn to take a back seat. I mean, you're still conscious of it. You're still there mentally, but you have a different guiding source.
I love that.
And that's kind of what happens. And that's the work. The work is like, we're conditioned to run our own lives and control everything that we have. And the control is an illusion. There's no control. There's, you know, there's a dead road. We cannot control or really anything. And, you know, there's a silver lining in the pandemic. I know it's a struggle for everybody, but I think everybody realized that their element of control, like one day they're fine and they have a secure job, and then all of a sudden this happens and the world was turned upside down. So the lesson there is enlightening if you let it to be. There's a lesson there in the illusion of control of what we think we have that is safe. That we think we have these things that we've built, and in reality, it's just a frequency that we're tuned into based on conditioning. But when your ego takes a backseat and you start aligning with the energy of the creator, you start joining what you really are. It's a process of understanding, not changing who you are. It's unpeeling what you've learned and to understand the essence of who you really are. So that's the journey for me.
So as far as understanding who you are, you are the higher self. You are that higher frequency. We were taught so many different things, which are layer upon layer upon layer upon layer, that have maybe pushed our frequency down, which then allows because we're afraid, that's when ego comes out, which then doesn't allow us to ascend, in a sense, to who we really are and tune into whatever it is that we really want from our hearts.
Right, because the universe is that responsive. Whether it's, you know, it's responsive to what your intentions are, whatever energy. The universe will give you what you think about. And I know you've heard that before, but it's just like, to experience it firsthand, you know, it is absolutely true, because what you think about, you get. And I think that this interpretation is, people are like, I wish I had a huge house. Well, okay, and they don't get it, they don't understand, because they're in the freaking frequency of wanting, of wishing, not of having. So the most powerful affirmation anybody could say is, I am. I am. I'm not trying to be. I'm not on my way to being. I am. And the universe responds to that frequency. That's the thing. And we're all connected, and there's no separation. And that's the reality of the universe and who we really are. And, you know, and through this journey and like through meditation, you start to digest frequencies and levels of them, and different levels of really who you are. And that's amazing because I think, and scientific research is following this.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's the essence of your personality, the essence of your being is not the physical matter. It's your soul. Your soul has the personality. Your soul has the direction. But our mind comes in with what? Doubt and fear. And fear is the direct opposite of love. It doesn't exist in the same frequency. Love and fear cannot coexist. They cannot. And love is the driving force is God. It's a creator. It's the connection. It's the frequency of who we are really having a physical experience. So once these things happen, the understanding, not only on the mental, but the mental level was all about, I need to understand this to stop thinking. And, if I don't know if you see this poster right here, it's one of my favorite poster. It's like a vinyl thing. And all it says is lose your mind and find your soul. If I could say 6 words, 6 powerful words, that's kind of crazy, and people say lose your mind.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. I just listened to the Lost Book of or Gospel of Thomas, and that's the essence of the entire gospel. The Lost Book that they didn't put into the Bible is basically that when you are home, when you are alone, or wherever you are in nature, I mean, it could be a busy street, I guess, like an airplane, but when you are meditating and you lose your own thought, like that's when the downloads come in. That's when God's or the higher frequency, whatever you want to call it, whatever anybody wants to call it, comes through you, because now it has the access to you, because you're not flooding it with all your woe is me and what do I make for dinner, thoughts that take away from who you really are. So I love that. I love that poster.
And that's exactly what you mean. That's who you really are. So the idea is it's not like an individual joining a force. It's really understanding that you are a part of that force. And what happens is the mind will get away in this, saying that we are controllers of our universe, and we're not. And it's it's completely natural to have hesitations with that feeling. It's very hard, and it's not like once you get it, you get this understanding, and then it's a work to get there. And I underline work because it's not something, for me, it wasn't a necessarily an overnight burning bush moment, as people say. It was more like a gravity sense of this is the way it is. This is the way it is. And I think that what happens is when people see the beauty of their true nature, of our true nature, it's almost too much to take in our physical plane. It's almost too good to be true, so to speak. People have this attitude, if anything that good, there has to be some suffering. There has to be some pain, suffering to have achieved some sort of, and that's a self-worth issue. And then this goes into we go into a rabbit hole about this, but the reality is like, it is that amazing. You just have to choose it. And by choosing
I love that.
Pushing the ego.
I love that you said that, because I feel like, there are a lot of people that have had the dark night of the soul, and it's almost like a testament to them expanding exponentially. I personally have not, thankfully, I guess, not had that, and hope to never have the dark night of the soul. Some people say, these moments of them being in tremendous, turmoil or depression or despair can last for years, right? And then eventually once they can and do, get to that higher frequency and they learn how to, that's when they, truly skyrocket in regards to, wow, where they were and where they are. I feel like there are some of us also that are just happy people, innate, like we're innately happy. And with that higher frequency has always been with us. And because of that, maybe that's why we can manifest so easily. And not to say you're even trying to manifest, but like the happy thoughts or the thankful, the gratitude, just your normal happy spiritual routine, if you will, gets you to that higher plane, which allows you to be more of the essence of what you are, which is, of course, on a daily basis, I think what we're all trying to do, instead of being in the rat race or that box or that pattern that, kind of suppresses that higher self.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, and it's there, and it always will be there. And it's just a matter of accessing it, and accessing it is easier than one could think, because that's who we really are.
What is your spiritual routine daily now that you're in your new body, your new frequency, your new, you're playing all around town. Everybody goes and watches you. What is it? Like, you obviously have this, I mean, I met you just the other day in person. It's been so long, and you just have this glow to you. What do you do?
So I don't think, you know, then again, it's like, it's a vibration. So it's like time is more irrelevant. So it's not like at 8:45, I meditate for this, but the ways that I stay grounded, because, you know, and that's the thing that people will experience, you know, it's like this guy is talking about frequency and I hear about this, like that all the world will go away. And it's not like we have to, you know, we still have to pay rent. We still have to pay bills or whatever. So there's things that you get caught up into the world. So I call it staying grounded or back to the source. Is, you know, there's meditation is the biggest way. There's affirmations. So it's not like I practice this all the time. When I feel my brain controlling or trying to control, it's like, it's practice letting go. Like I have, and it's little things that I found out that work for me. Talk about letting it go. I have this plaque that I think I found at like a thrift store, and it just like it says "Let it go." That's it, and it's right. That's the last thing I see before I leave my house. You know,
I love that.
Much of like this. You know, affirmations are really a big thing. Saying to ground you, you almost feel the fluid of energy. Like I am, you know, a child of God. I am a part of the Creator. I am, you know, these things. Which, when you say that, you could almost feel that energy source happen through your body, and that stays grounded. And that's, and I say it feels, it's almost like a floaty feeling. I know you felt this, but when I say stay grounded, it's me be grounded to what I really am, and not this person that controls his world.
Thank you.
I don't know if that, hopefully that kind of answered your question, but there's meditation, some in the morning, a lot at night. I found the nighttime really enlightening, because like the world kind of stops a little bit. That's when I take my time to myself, or early in the morning, because, you know, there's no temptation to check my phone. There's no traffic going on. It's more at peace, and it's easier to connect with less distractions.
I love that.
Then also exercise. So exercise routines became to me not, oh, I need to burn 400 calories right now because I ate pizza last night. It became a celebratory act of the gift that I have, which is my body.
I love that.
So the body is a gift or a tool to navigate the earth. And I feel I'm celebrating in gratitude when I go run, because I can. And I'm so thankful that I can. So the act of me exercising is even spiritual, in saying, I am grateful to have this working body. This greatest gift I'll ever own in this carnation is my body. And I'm celebrating its ability, and I'm in gratitude. So that became a kind of a spiritual thing, even exercising.
I love that, Mike. That is so authentic and so beautiful and so needed. Yeah, I think that intention is so much different than our old, you know, high school days of I gotta have a hot bod, you know, which is, you know, what we do when we're young. But if we were taught this when we were young, we wouldn't have to do that, right? So learning this when we're older, you know, it's never too late for anything. But I'm really just wowed by that thought and that change of paradigm in regards to working out. That's beautiful.
Well, yeah, and it's like you know, and the thing is, like, it does physically change your frequency. Everything is connected. Everything is connected through energy. So if you have a change in frequency, it's not surprising to understand that your physical realm, your physical body would change in alignment. Think about frequency being light or heavy. Like, negative emotions and negative feelings are dense and heavy, and they feel weighted and close to the ground, and these kind of feelings and emotions. So we change to a higher vibration, you're lighter, And then, now, do you see the parallel of the physical world that I'm talking about? It's like you're lighter,
Yes.
you're more energetic, and you have more of a glow to you, which is a manifestation of changing of frequency. So what I just described is what happened to me spiritually, but as you can see, it coincided with the physical world as well.
Not only the physical, maybe if you don't mind kind of giving us some insight on the difference of you playing your guitar or the piano then and now, and the difference between that with the lighter
Yeah,
frequency.
yeah, the music thing is all, that is an interesting topic because I felt like that, the way I felt when I was playing has never changed. So that was, and that probably has to do a lot of with my journey or my decision or the work that I'm doing on the world has, it's part of my intention is music and part of my journey in this incarnation is music. So that was kind of untouched. But what I didn't realize so much is the quickest way to change the frequency. And this is somebody, all the words that we discussed in this interview so far could all go away, and you could change in somebody's vibration with music instantly. So if the and that maybe the work that I'm thinking is connecting spiritually to music, and it's like I don't have to say any words, okay? I don't have to say blah blah blah. Let things go, love God, and be in gratitude, and write a song about that. I just play. It's just like an effective preacher will not interject his ideology. He will let God flow through him, and you feel that energy when that's in true intention.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just the same thing with music, and I realized that it's really nice to see that coming in circle. So one of these days I'll have to explain the meaning of this whole entire tattoo. I think we talked about it a little bit, but it was a really good thing. So a constant reminder of what music is and what it can do and transform. It's not about me and what I could grab from it, like attention or the things that feed my ego that are somehow synonymous with the music world. It's
You're
more
right.
what you with it is changing
I
frequency.
love
And even if it's temporary, people feel it, right? Even if they don't
absolutely.
they feel it through music.
Oh, sorry. For example, like when I hear a wedding song, it's just like a lighthearted moment of hearing a wedding song. You're like, oh, this is so pretty. Not like you could think of like all these beautiful weddings that you've been to and how much fun you've
Yeah.
had. And I mean, just in that moment, if you heard it for 10 seconds and it was on, Spotify or whatever, and then it went off, you're just like, oh, that was so good. It really, you're right. It really, really just
Well, yeah,
raises and
it
changes.
absolutely. And I think that one thing that's not understood as well is people always think of an ego as self-satisfying and acquisitions. But the reality too, and this made me think of it when you said weddings, because I played, I mean, literally probably close to hundreds of weddings, and
Wow.
it's not all been like a lot of it's been receptions, right? Like that's what
Mhm.
the band plays, so it's been a lot of that, but it's also been very much a part of the ceremony. Like recently, I've done, they want this song. This is the song they fell in love to. It means something to them. So when they walk down the aisle, I play this song. And I'm going to get there. I'm going to type what I'm talking about here quickly. Sorry. Uh, but I would think before kind of the spiritual enlightenment, if you will, I was finding things wrong with this, and that's ego. So the ego could act as a negative thing as well. I'm not good enough. That's still an ego thinking in opposition. So if somebody says they don't feel good about themselves, um, one would say that is not an egotistical thing because we are conditioned to think of ego as very self, rewarding. But the ego could be in that sense too. So it's like I'm not good enough is thinking out of ego. So the idea is stepping out completely. So when I did that, it was funny. The feedback I always got was so positive, even though I thought I sounded bad at these people's wedding, right? Or at what this performance I didn't get enough. I was like, that's out of ego. It is what it is. The only thing I could do is get out of the way of it because I already have the physical knowledge to play the notes, right? So the best thing in music is to learn everything you can and forget everything you learned. So you have the energy flow. But I'm sorry, the wedding just reminded me of that because I'm like
Yeah, I
playing,
love that.
thinking, and I'm thinking, underlying thinking that this is not sounding right for their wedding, but it actually is like a pinnacle moment in their wedding, and
Oh,
on their perspective.
on their perspective, because that tune, that note, everything, all of it together, just
Which
so.
just tells me that if I don't think it's something good, it's not that. You just let it go. You do what you're supposed to do. You play the music, and you attune to that vibration. And tune is the biggest, such a huge word. It's attuning
Yes,
to vibrations, or offering yourself. You know,
I love
and
that.
and I finally feel like the whole music journey is, in career-wise, is setting yourself up, and even talking about finances. It's like when I stopped thinking about or worrying about money, it's abundant. And I can't underline that more because everybody, especially in a capitalistic society like America, which is great and it benefits whenever you can do anything we want, but people are constantly worried about their financial state. We are so geared to think about that. Well, guess what? When you put that vibration down, money comes. Like I just left a really high paying corporate job 2 months ago without fear because I knew that this was supposed to happen. And so it's like halfway thinking, like, I'm prepared for whatever that may be. It's going to be a learning experience. Well, it turns out it's like I have not had time at all. I mean, I'm so busy with just 100% music, and there was no transitional period. It was almost like my last day of the 9 to 5 job was automatically entering. I mean, it was almost felt like it was instantaneous. That it wasn't like this transition. Well, I got to build up this students and I got to book gigs. It's going to take time. It just happened like that. My phone's ringing from people I haven't heard of or heard from for a long time. People that got my number from somewhere with these amazing musical opportunities. Well, then the money is there beyond what I need because the intention is that because it will follow. These tools will follow our intentions. But when we say we don't have enough, we are affirming what we don't have, and we'll get more of what we don't have.
Mike, that was so great. Thank you so much for the insight on that. I appreciate the financial frequency thought process because we don't think about it like that often. And I think it's really important that we start to think about that type of paradigm shift in regards to finance. And I appreciate the examples you gave. So as far as a few more questions we have for you. So the first question would be, what advice would you give to people who are having a hard time losing weight? And then the second would be, what advice would you give to your younger self? Maybe, like between 10 to 20-year-old self.
Yeah, I think that it's the same answer for both questions, honestly. Somebody that wants to lose weight is to let it go. And then it's like, well, let what go? It's like, let the battle go. Because understanding that in opposition to something is still very much aligned with that frequency. So you drop it. So you drop it and you understand who you are and love who you are, and you will fulfill your intention. So I think the biggest thing is letting it go and just understanding that there's no battle anymore. You don't have to fight temptation. You don't have to fight that. You don't have to pick that fight because when you fight, you're in the same frequency and opposition. And if let it go is the same thing I would tell myself very much in a younger me, was not letting it go. And letting it go is often not as the way it looks as you would think so. Just like not care. It's not about not caring. It's about letting these battles go and not listening to other people when they think they have the right idea for you. Because sometimes people will say, well, you should do this, you should do this. And I would tell myself, you do what's right for your soul and your intentions, and stay connected to that source of who you are. And who you are as a child of God is a part of the energy that is, that was, and that always will be. You are
Wow.
a walking part of that energy, and you are loved. And once you get on that frequency, everything will follow that intention. So love yourself and love everybody in love, and let that happen to you, because that's who you are. Not conditioning. Don't like this person, don't like this person. I like you, not you. None of that. We're all there. So it's changing your frequency and then allowing it to happen.
I love that. That's beautiful. My gosh, Mike. Woo, talk about a plethora of wisdom there. Your journey was amazing. And as far as a brilliant mind, gosh darn, you sure have one. I do appreciate you, and I really appreciate your music. If you could just give us some tunes and
Yeah,
let us
sure.
hear some guitar, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem. I'll play something here.
Definitely changed my frequency. Thank you so much, Mike, for your time. I really appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing you and listening to you live in person again.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.